Today I'd like to introduce you to the iGaging bench squares. When I'm finished, I think you'll agree that these would make a really nice addition to any workbench and at a fraction of the cost of more premium brands. So let's look at the specifications of the squares. First of all, obviously there's a two-piece. They have a blade that's 2mm thick, so it's very, very robust. It has been sandblasted and finished with a matte chrome, so it doesn't glare, which is nice. And it has these graduation marks on both sides that are deeply etched, so they're not going to wear off. The base is CNC machined from aircraft grade aluminum, and you'll see that the blade is deeply set into the base, so it's not going to come out anytime soon. So there you have the specifications. Now let's look at some of the features. So the base is wide, which allows the square to stand up hands-free. So I can use it to set up my table saw blade at 90 degrees or my table saw blade at 45 degrees without having to hold the square in place. It also allows me to set my jointer blade and also my bandsaw blade 90 degrees to the table. So when you turn it up like this, you'll see there's some graduation marks on the base here. You can actually use it to set your table saw height or your router bit height. So that's a nice feature. The base is offset. It has a 1/4 inch offset on this side and a 3/8 offset on this side. And what that does is it makes it easy for you to mark out tenons or mortises. So I can use the 1/4 inch side and I can mark with, this is a piece of 3/4 stock. I can mark on one side and I can flip it over and I can mark. Now I have a perfectly spaced mortise or tenon on a 4/4 stock. You can also use it to offset 3/8 of an inch if you want to find the center of 3/8 stock. That's a nice feature too. So that's the base. So now let's look at the angle function. Over here on the side here, on the long edge, you'll see a bunch of graduation marks. This is used, so you can use this as a protractor. So I can set this on a board here like this, and then I can tip it. Like let's say I want to draw a line 10 degrees. I can tip that to the 10-degree mark there, and then when I draw a line, my line is at 10 degrees. So I can do that for any degree along here from 0 to 90. There's also some preset marks here at 15, 22.5, and so on. So there's also some longer marks so you can find them easily. You can also use it to find pre-existing angles. So this angle was pre-cut. I can take my square and I can place it against that edge, like right there. Then I can look at where it intersects in the long edge, and you'll see that it's 22.5 degrees, and that's the angle that I made this cut. So there you go. There's some angle features that you can use. You can also use it to, well, obviously you can use it just to draw square lines. It's accurate to just a few thousandths of an inch, which is plenty accurate for any workshop application. You can also measure up from the base here, and like I can just mark it at 1/2 inch if I wanted, or mark it at 1 inch. But I can also stick my pencil in these holes and I can actually draw, I'm going to put it down on the bench here, and I can actually draw a parallel line. So I can put it in there and I can actually come along here and I can make a line that's parallel to the edge. So that's a really nice feature. And these are really quick to find. So there's a mark every 1/16 of an inch. So if I want to make a mark at 1/2 inch from the edge, then I want to make another mark 1 inch from the edge. It's as simple as dropping a lead in that hole, making a line. So that's a really important feature. The other thing you can do is you can actually draw a line here, and then there's another set of graduation marks right here, and I can mark another line exactly like 1 inch from that line, let's say 1 inch and 2 inch from that line. Then I can move over and finish out the line, and I have marks that are equally spaced or precisely spaced. So there's some really nice features that you can use as far as setting offsets from the edge of a board. There's also some preset angles in here. Like if I want to draw a preset angle I could draw a line here and I could draw a line here. These are two 45-degree lines. Then I could just finish this line out and I have my two 45-degree lines. I can also draw a line here. This is at 30 degrees. That's a 30-degree line, so that I could do that and I could finish that out at 30 degrees. You can also use it to find center. So let's say I'm trying to find the center of the square turning stock. I can flush it up to one side here, and then I can draw a line, and I can flush it up to the other side, and I can draw a line, and that's the center of the board. Actually, when I do center, I always do it from all 4 sides because I find that stock isn't always exactly square. So if I do it from all 4 sides, then the dead center is right between all those 4 lines. Okay, let's see how this thing does in real time. Let's say that I need to draw a rectangle on this piece of stock. It needs to be 1 inch in from the left side, 1 inch in from the bottom, 2 inches tall, and 4 inches long. So here's how I would go about doing that. I would take it, I would lay my square against this left side. I would mark at this mark here, the 1 inch mark. That gives me my beginning mark. And then my mark at 5 inches, that gives me a 4 inch long rectangle. Then I drop my pencil into the 1 inch mark and I draw a parallel line here. Then I go up here and I drop it into the 3 inch mark and I draw another parallel line. Then I simply come over here, draw my vertical lines, and I have my square that I just laid out in just a few seconds. So this square can greatly reduce your layout time. These squares come in 2 sizes. You can get the 4 inch version, or you can get the 7 inch version. If you can buy them individually, or you can buy them as a set. If you do buy them as a set, you do get this mechanical pencil and some extra lead. Each square comes in a nice padded case. So I hope that you will agree that these squares have some really nice features, that they would make a welcome addition to any workbench, and at a fraction of the cost of more premium brands. So pick them up, taytools.com.